The Fremantle Dockers are about to kick off their inaugural AFL women's season. They're playing the Western Bulldogs over at the Whitten Oval on the weekend. It's a great thrill to speak to a player I'm sure is going to be a star. She's waited a long time for opportunity, overcome numerous setbacks to get there, but it's now great to be able to speak to Tiah Haynes, Fremantle Dockers women's player here on Sports Drive. Good afternoon to you, Tiah.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Great to have you on the show, Tiah. Look, you've overcome a lot of adversity to get to this point. I want to take you back to 2014, if I can, the marquee game between the Western Bulldogs and the Melbourne Demons. It was going to be played at Docklands mid-season on a Sunday afternoon. You were the number one draft pick for that match, probably the number one women's footballer in the country at that stage. And then, very sadly, less than a week later, you did your knee. And you've had a couple of knee reconstructions, I think I'm right in saying. But now you're playing for the Fremantle Dockers. You get to stay in Western Australia and represent a club I'm sure you love and have supported growing up. But great opportunity now for you to represent the Fremantle Dockers and run out against the Western Bulldogs at the Whitten Oval on Saturday.
Yeah, it certainly was. 2014 was obviously a massive high for me, then also a massive low at the same time. So, yeah, you're right. I've had two knee reconstructions since that day. So, obviously, my 21st birthday was the day that I ruptured it the first time, and then obviously in the state match against Victoria when we won for the first time was the time I did it again. So since then, it's obviously been a lot of hurdles up and down, but no, I'm very privileged and honoured to get opportunity to represent the Dockers this weekend.
And you've been named on a half-back flank. The Dockers are considered one of the premiership contenders in this inaugural season of the AFL women's competition. This will be a very stern challenge straight off, Tiah, because the Western Bulldogs are another side that's heavily backed to go all the way in this inaugural season.
Yeah, that's right. So there's obviously a bit of up and down with who they reckon is going to be flag favourites. They've picked up, obviously, the Dockers and Western Bulldogs at the moment. So it'll be a massive game, obviously, for everyone, no matter what team you're playing for this weekend. Obviously, round one's always a big thing, and no one really knows what they're in for. Obviously, not playing any other team yet. So I think versus Western Bulldogs, there's obviously a few people that we've played against and with before. So it's exciting no matter what. But to go in, I guess, flag favourites is pretty exciting as well.
You kind of answered my next question there, Tiah, but there obviously is a fair bit of unknown, a fair bit of unpredictability when it comes to coming into this season, because it is the first ever season of the women's competition. Have you done much homework on your opposition this week, or it's a bit hard to?
Nah, to be honest, we haven't. We haven't done a lot. We've got some training tonight, so obviously there'll be a bit of opposition analysed in there. But I think we have obviously versed some players a few times, and we do know of players that are quite well known to run amok out there. So I guess in that respect, we have some idea, but the coaches have got it all under wraps. So I guess that's where we throw our trust as well.
Back to that knee injury just momentarily, Tiah. I just wanted to know how long, it's a bit of a mental hurdle to overcome as well as the physical one. How long did it actually take you to get confidence back in your own body after that second knee reconstruction?
I took a whole year off, so it was something that I definitely had to do. I think you have to try and find the love for the game again, which was unfortunate for me. But then, obviously, having the year off, I found that pretty quickly, and missing out in games and having to watch is difficult. So I think the confidence in myself obviously took a little bit. I obviously we've got Paul Hazelby and we've got Michelle Cowan. Obviously, they have the trust in me to be able to pick me up to play in this team. So I guess speaking with them and a couple of players, and you just get feedback from them and how they think you're going, and then you just got to put confidence in yourself to know that you've got the ability, and I guess, yeah, that's just the only way you're going to be able to get it back is once you take a couple of knocks and stuff like that, and the trust I have in like the physios and the surgeons and stuff like that you speak to, and how they think your body's holding up definitely helps a lot.
Fremantle women's player Tiah Haynes with us here on Sports Drive this afternoon ahead of their opening game in the inaugural AFL women's competition. They take on the Western Bulldogs, who are the flag favourites at the moment as we head into the first season, Saturday afternoon over at Whitten Oval. As Jacob said just a moment ago, Tiah, you've been named on the half-back flank. The team's released a little bit earlier on today. Is that where you think you will spend a majority of your time throughout the season, or do you think there'll be a little bit of movement there?
I think majority of the time I'll be spent there, but I definitely know that there's obviously going to be times and stuff where I'll be moved around the ground and utilised in those areas. So I'm definitely not complaining where I play. As if I'm on the field, I'm on the field, and I guess that's a massive bonus too.
Who are some of the players we should be looking out for in this Fremantle Dockers side, Tiah? Ashley Sharp's a name I remember seeing play for Swan Districts last season in the grand final against East Fremantle, and she put on a show, so she's obviously one to look out for. But who are some of the other girls we should be looking out for in this first season?
Yeah, definitely. Ashley Sharp's obviously a very young gun who's an absolute superstar, and she'll play really well in this the few weeks that we have. And then there's a few girls that obviously have stood up and improved along the way of training as well. One name she's also come back from 2 knee recons, though, Melissa Caulfield. I think she's definitely one that's going to stand out in our competition, and she's got the smarts and the ability and everything. So I think she's definitely one that will fly under the radar, but will show up on the game days as well.
And Tiah, tell us a little bit about your coach, Michelle Cowan. I think it was no surprise to most people that she was named as the coach of the Fremantle Dockers women's side. She's had plenty of experience. She's obviously was previously the coach of the Melbourne Demons women's side. She's been assistant coach at both West Perth and South Fremantle over here in the WAFL as well. So she brings plenty of experience. Has that been pretty noticeable earlier on?
Yeah, she's definitely got the knowledge, and she definitely knows how to get on the same level as each player and how to get the word across to them. So she's outstanding coach, and I'm very glad she stayed home as well.
Just keeping on the topic of West Australian female footballing talent, Tiah, a girl you know quite well, also went to Willetton Senior High School. All the talent at Willetton Senior High School seemed to be in the girls, sadly. Alex Williams. She played football over here in Western Australia. She's now playing for the Greater Western Sydney Giants. Who are some of the other female footballers from Western Australia we should be looking out for?
Yeah, definitely. So obviously Alex is one of my best mates, so that was a bit of a hard thing to let go of her and let her go to Sydney, but she's obviously doing well over there and going across to Sydney with a couple of other girls that also left WA. So we've had quite a few leave, but we've had majority of us stay. So Emma King obviously went as a marquee player from WA as well. Same with Emma Swanson, Renee Forth, Kelly Gibson and Chelsea Randall. So they're the big names that went off. We also had Sabrina Traub who went to Brisbane. There's a couple of others that have disappeared over east to get their time as well. So we've definitely got the depth in WA. So it's good to see that them spreading their wings and obviously going into state as well.
Now, Tiah, finally, this game at the Whitten Oval. Have you made the trek over to Melbourne ahead of this game, or are you flying out tomorrow morning?
Tomorrow morning we head off. So tonight we've got one last night as a training group, and then obviously we'll get off tomorrow, which is really exciting.
Certainly is. Now, you're in prime time. This game starts at 7:40 Australian Eastern Standard Time. So a night game at the Whitten Oval under lights there, and it's going to be a fantastic occasion.
Yeah, that's it. So under the lights at Whitten Oval was pretty exciting. I guess it's prime time on a weekend. So I guess even if it's not, massive, I think anything to go by was that exhibition match that was held there a few months ago. So, you know what, I guess getting the time to shine at an oval like this against a team like Western Bulldogs is something that we all look forward to.
Well, Tiah, really appreciate you joining us here on Sports Drive this afternoon. Great to chat. It's been obviously very exciting, all the build-up to the inaugural AFL women's competition, a massive match to kick things off against the flag favourites, the Western Bulldogs, away from home. A big challenge, but I'm sure the team and yourself are very much looking forward to it. Best wishes, good luck, and hopefully we'll maybe catch up for another chat soon throughout the season.
Yeah, no, sounds awesome. Thanks for having me.